YouTube, we're going to do some clarified butter today. And the reason why I wanted to do this video is because I wanted to give you a understanding of the benefits of having clarified butter. Now, you can go and buy clarified butter in the stores. It's very, very expensive. So the alternative to that is making clarified butter yourself, which is also known as liquid gold. So butter made these days are pretty much full of milk solids and a lot of water and impurities that are in it. So from my understanding, I wasn't around in the 50s or the 60s. So my understanding is that back then, real butter, once it was put in a fridge or went down to a certain temperature and hardened and solidified, it was very hard to cut. So the butter that we see today, which is very soft, when you cut it, you can just, even if it's in a refrigerator, you can just cut right through it with a butter knife. Clarified butter is like the butter from back in those days. So once you refrigerate it and it solidifies, it's going to be a harder product. Now, as the story goes, years and years ago, decades ago, companies started trying to make more profit out of butter. And so what they did was they started adding they started adding impurities to it, water and other things just to make a bigger profit. Well, the government had to jump in and tell them that if it doesn't have a certain amount of this, it can't be considered as butter. So they got in, they started to regulate it. And right now, I think the ratio is 80-20. So 20% of the butter you buy off the shelves are full of impurities. It's full of water, the milk solids and things of that nature. And one of the big differences that you'll see when it comes to butter and also clarified butter is if you ever take butter and you put it in a hot pan, you're going to hear it sizzle. It's going to pop. And that's the water that is in your butter that is allowing that to pop. If you was to put water inside of some hot grease, it would pop, it will sizzle the same way the butter does on a hot pan because of the water that is in it. So with clarified butter, you really take all of that out. And are you going to get every single ounce of water out? No, but you'll get it to a point where you will have a very high smoke point, meaning you can get almost up to 500 degrees before that clarified butter starts to burn. And so clarified butter is really, really, really good for baking. It's really good if you want to sear a steak. I have to use oil. You have to use oil when you're dealing with regular butter off the shelf in order to prevent it from burning too fast. At some point it will burn, even with the oil, but with this clarified butter, you can cook with that in a saute pan. You can sear anything in a pan and not have to worry about the burning. And when you put clarified butter into a hot pan, you're not going to get the sizzle. You're not going to get the popping. All you're going to get is just that buttery goodness, and that is what you're looking for. So now during this time, as you can see, I had 5 sticks of unsalted butter, and I allowed them to melt down. And as you see, this white foam at the top, these are the milk solids. These are the impurities that are in the butters that you get off of the shelf. And this is the stuff, this is, the whey and all that stuff that is, it's just not good, for you. These are things added to extend the product out for companies to make more. So they just put a bunch of junk in it in order to stretch the product out for profit. So as you see, it hasn't taken long for it to melt. I do have it on the gas grill. So, gas grills gas stoves burners do burn faster. So it's almost ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into it I'm going to move some around a little bit just to see if everything is all melted, and then we'll go from there. So what I will do is I will just skim the top of this, and it is a process. So you have to be patient, but you are working towards a goal. So now when it melts, there's going to be three components. There's going to be the milk solids, and also the impurities are going to float to the top. And in the middle of that is what you're looking for, which is the clarified butter. But at the bottom also, there are milk solids at the bottom as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and clear all of this out. And you have to be patient again with this, so that you can get everything off and have a good batch of clarified butter. Okay, so once I'm done with this, we will return. Okay, so I have skimmed all of the solids / impurities off the top. That's quite a lot. Now, what I like to do is pour this into a measuring cup so that it can settle and I can see it as it settles. Give it about 20 minutes. Let everything settle to the bottom. If there are any little dots like this, if that doesn't settle to the bottom, I'll skim those off, and then pour it into a container. All right, so I'll just go ahead and pour this in here. And as you see, all of those milk solids are just swimming around in there. And after about 20 minutes, 10 or 20 minutes, everything will settle to the bottom. And then I will be able to pour it off into a container. Okay, so we are back with the clarified butter, and don't know if you can quite see the bottom, but there are the milk solids that has settled on the bottom of it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour this into a container, and with this spout and with this being see-through, I can see where I'm at as far as not allowing those milk solids to go off into the clarified butter. You know what? You're going to have to chalk some of this up. As you see, the milk solids are starting to come to the top. And you want to be careful. It almost got me. You want to be as careful as possible, because all you want in there is predominantly the liquid gold. All right, so there we have it. What is known as liquid gold. So if you like what you just saw, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so that you can be kept up to date with all the videos that I come out with. If this is your first time, thank you so much for watching my channel. I hope you learned something from this, and hopefully it can take you further in your cooking process and being able to be a better cook. So until the next video, folks, thank you so much. Peace.